If you want to be able to make a full dinner with just one ingredient and become a better cook at home, stick around and I'll show you how. All right, that ingredient is...
Let's do it!
Hey everybody, I'm Alex, and I love learning new things, especially when it comes to cooking and food. And if you're wondering what that secret ingredient is, I'm not gonna make you wait, it's salt. And if you stick around, I'll show you how to master it so you become a better home cook. Some people call it the most important seasoning, but I don't think it does it justice. I think it's more than just a seasoning or an ingredient. It's a valuable tool that you have in the kitchen at your disposal. And I think everyone should master it and get comfortable using. When I started my food journey... Did somebody say food journey? Cue the Michael Pollan quote. Yeah, that's a good one. In this video, we're gonna go through the history of salt, who discovered salt, where did it come from, what its political affiliations are, what Spotify stations it listens to. I'm just kidding, we're just gonna swipe across a Wikipedia page and we're done. Okay. Salt makes food taste salty. It's no wonder our potato chips are salty and our pretzels are salty. It's because we humans have developed a serious craving for salt. The second reason is that it enhances the flavor of the food that we eat. It's no wonder that 90 to 95% of the recipes you read online or in books contain a little bit of salt, either a pinch of salt here or a specific amount, because it enhances the other ingredients. Salt can actually suppress the bitter compounds in some of the food. It's why some people actually add a touch of salt to their morning coffee. I've done it and it works. It sounds like a commercial for coffee and salt. I couldn't imagine an even worse idea. Not only does it reduce the bitter compounds, but it'll actually make sweeter food sweeter. So your chocolate chip cookies will have salt, and on occasion, you may actually buy a chocolate chip cookie that will have flake salt on top of it. Which brings me to my next topic, different types of salt. For simplicity's sake, I'm gonna say that there are two types of salt, finishing salts and cooking salts. And before you chew me out in the comments why you can cook with finishing salt and finish with cooking salts, I'm not here to argue that. The Venn diagram will probably look like this, or more like this. I think cooking with an affordable salt that has good structure that you can pinch, hold, and sprinkle is way better than trying to crank out table salt, blowing out your elbows and ending your sports career. Two typically come to mind, Diamond Crystal and Morton's Kosher salt. I use Diamond Crystal because, I don't know, a book told me to do it, and that's what was available at the store at the time. But I also picked up Morton's Kosher salt, and guess what? The crunchy texture means I sometimes use this as a finishing salt. But what's a finishing salt? Well, think back to those pretzels you buy at the store, or the flaky stuff delicately placed on a chocolate chip cookie. I have some Malden salt here, and you can see how light and big the pieces are. You can cook with it. There's a recipe in this book that calls for Malden salt. However, this small box cost me $9, and this huge box of Diamond Crystal was something like $3 to $6. If you're going to master salt, don't break the bank. When you do decide to cook with salt, get yourself a salt container like this. This was crafted from a local artisan out of an ancient acacia tree. Or I just bought it from Amazon. You can get these things anywhere. Try to get something with a lid, so it can avoid getting moisture, or if you accidentally spill. It can be round so you can roll it. It really doesn't matter, just so long as you can take it out when you need it, pick it up, pinch, and sprinkle. But you don't have to spend money. You can use whatever you have at home. Think about this piece of Tupperware. It has a lid, keeps moisture out, keeps things from accidentally spilling, and look how well it holds salt. There's all sorts of things you can find around your house that hold salt, like this, and this. Not this. This has too many holes. All right, I need to go on a side rant. Maybe it's a hot take, maybe it's a spicy take, maybe it's no take at all, but hear me out. We do not need to season our food with salt and pepper. And this is coming from someone who loves pepper, but I have two small children at home, and every time I've been cooking with pepper, they've been accusing me of giving them dragon breath. Don't ask. All I'm trying to say is all the recipes you see online and in these videos talk about season with salt and pepper, season with salt and pepper, season with salt and pepper. The point I'm trying to make is that pepper is optional. Unless the dish is called black pepper tofu or black pepper green beans, cooking with pepper should be a choice, and you shouldn't have to season it with salt and pepper, which you probably already know that, but that's just been bugging me, okay? It's a completely optional seasoning. Unlike salt, which, as you already know, is fundamentally one of the most important ingredients to cook with. Okay, blah, 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 blah. Let me get back to the show. All right, let's get some funky music, and I'm going to do my best to talk science. Number 3, osmosis and diffusion. Diffusion is the process where a low concentration, for this example, blue food coloring, mixes with a large amount of water. In time, it will mix together completely and achieve equilibrium, meaning it'll be completely blue. That's diffusion. Now let's get a real-time reaction from my son while shooting B-roll. Yeah, it's pretty cool stuff. So far, so good, I think. Osmosis is basically water diffusion through a semi-permeable membrane, like fruits, vegetables, and meat cells. Hey, that's what we're cooking today. Go science! So what does that mean for my food and for my cooking? Salt draws out water from the food, melts, and then coats it, which will enhance the flavor and taste. And here's a bonus. It denatures the proteins, allowing the fibers of the meat to trap more water, making your chicken juicier. This technique is known as brining. There's wet brining and dry brining. Dry brining, I feel, is much easier. You want to start off by sprinkling some salt up top over the chicken breast on both sides. This is best to do at least 15 to 30 minutes prior to cooking, and for best results, up to 24 hours. You can do a wet brine by putting the breast in water with an appropriate amount of salt, but I found that you have to do a lot of math and you go all beautiful mind on it to get it. You can watch a great video by Ethan Chlebowski that talks all about the math. I've watched it a bunch of times. I'll link it down below. But it's one of the main reasons I find dry brining easier. Wet brining might be fine for one chicken breast if you're one guy living in an apartment, but I have a whole family to feed. So now I gotta go find a bucket to give my chicken a bath? Forget it. Look, now that we know what we know, let's do this. So what we're gonna need is a chicken breast, a couple of zucchinis, and get a bunch of tomatoes. I personally like the Camparis. They're one of my favorites, but I found these orange ones at the grocery store that are super sweet. And you know what they say? We eat with our eyes. So grab something that will make it look really beautiful on your plate and on your table. And I found this cucumber in the fridge, so I'm gonna add that to make a nice, simple salad. A lemon for the dressing with some olive oil, and of course, the star of the show, salt. All right, you've brined your chicken for at least 15 minutes, maybe even up to 24 hours. Good stuff. Now put a piece of plastic wrap on a cutting board, one designated for meat preferably, and place the meat on the plastic wrap and go wash your hands, obviously. Now come back and cover it up with another piece of plastic wrap so you don't contaminate the area with salmonella. The goal is to flatten the bigger side of the meat so it'll cook evenly, and you can flatten the entire thing, but you don't want to go too thin, otherwise you're on your way to making schnitzel. Now, take your meat pounder, or in this case, my wife's cast iron pan, or a rolling pin, and pound your meat. Pound your meat really, really well. If you don't want to, ask your partner, a husband or wife, boyfriend or girlfriend, to pound your meat. And if they won't do it, you can ask the butcher to pound your meat. Hold on a second. My wife is telling me something. What? No? Uh-huh. Yeah. No, I didn't realize I was saying that. No, yes, bash or flatten would have been a better word. Okay. Don't ask your butcher to do anything. You can also butterfly the chicken breast. Just cut the chicken breast lengthwise like you're opening a book, or you can just get thin sliced chicken breast from the store. Just make sure you brine your chicken before or after and have it ready. Turn on your stove to medium heat and let it heat up for about a minute or two. Then add your oil. I'm using olive oil because I like it, but you can use any neutral oil that you like. Let that heat up for about a minute or two just before it smokes, definitely before the smoke alarm goes off. And then gently put the chicken into the pan so it doesn't splatter and let it sit untouched for 2-3 minutes to allow a golden hue to form. That color is because of the Maillard effect, and it'll not only give it color, but flavor. Let that cook on medium-low for 3-4 minutes and then flip it so it can cook on medium-low for about another 6 to 8 minutes in total. You know the power of your stove, so just keep an eye on it. I add a little bit of butter or ghee for flavor. You can do that, it's optional. But then you get to do that spoony thing that chefs get to do by scooping up the butter and pouring it on top. Check at the 5-minute mark with a meat thermometer if it reaches 155 degrees internally. When it does, take it out and let it rest on a plate so it can retain its juiciness. The carryover heat will bring it up to about 160 to 165 degrees. We're going to do something similar with the veggies that we did with the chicken. We cut them in half and salt them. I like to give a crisscross cut to expose more surface area for the salt and also the heat when we cook them. You want to sprinkle some salt from up top to cover as much of the surface as possible, maybe a pinch or two, and let them sit for about 15 to 30 minutes. You'll see the liquid come out, drawn out of the zucchini. That's osmosis, folks. Pat dry with a paper towel or a clean kitchen towel. When you are done, you can drizzle a little olive oil over them or use a brush to apply oil on both sides. Heat up your pan, or in this case, my wife's cast iron grill. I personally don't like this thing over a traditional flat cast iron pan, but it does get wicked hot and it does give some pretty nice grill marks. Cook for about 3-4 minutes if you're using a standard flat pan. They cook pretty quick. These took me about 5 minutes on the grill. You can turn them around, lay them on their sides, flip them here and there just to cook a little bit more. It all depends on the mouthfeel that you prefer. We personally like them to have a little bit of a snap when you bite them. Also, remember the salt will remove some of the bitterness, so they're going to be really delicious and sweet. Once they're done, set them aside on your dish, and look, we're going to be applying some finishing salt, some of that Malden salt on the zucchini. I'm about to apply $2 or $3 worth. Lovely. Now let's make a salad. You want to start off by just slicing your tomatoes in 4. You can cut these smaller ones into 2. Oh. Let's not let the little ones get away. While we're using the same technique that we did for the chicken and the zucchini, the science of good cooking suggests that this is a way to draw out the liquid so that when you add your dressing, it's less diluted. But in fact, I like to use it for the opposite reason. I actually like my liquidy salad. So I'm going to salt it and keep all that liquid in the bowl. Look at that. It's beautiful. It's weird when you pick up tomatoes for a YouTube channel. I don't normally scoop them up. Personally, I like to peel my cucumber. For the green bin compost again, and okay. So we have the cucumbers ready, but we're not going to add it to the bowl. We're going to salt our tomatoes and let it do its magic for 15 minutes. All right, after about 15 minutes, there should be plenty of liquid, and I'm going to cut half a lemon to finish the dressing. You could use apple cider vinegar or balsamic, it's up to you. I'm going to toss in the cucumber and then add a little bit of olive oil. You shouldn't need to add any salt, but again, taste as you make it. And of course, you could add pepper if you want. Oh, look at all that juice. It's gorgeous. And of course, you can add your lettuces, radish, red, green peppers, any sort of vegetables you want. Just let the salt do its magic on the tomatoes. And it's up to you if you want to take the liquid out or keep it in like I do. We made a complete meal with salt as the main ingredient. We have grilled zucchini, a pan roasted chicken breast, and a colorful salad. You know, I saw a video that said that salt was one of the most important ingredients on earth, and I couldn't agree more. I know that if you truly master the use of salt, not just as a seasoning and ingredient, but as a tool in the kitchen, you'll be well on your way to becoming a better chef and home cook. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time. All right, time to dig in, because this is looking really good. Oh yeah. I mean, it's salty and so good throughout every bite.